We have breaking news out of Formula One, where Haas have signed young American driver Jack Crawford as their reserve driver. Now, reports suggest that team principal Haas F1 crashed his 18th birthday party and forced him to sign the contract. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today we have the Monaco Grand Prix as we go for 3 wins in a row with K-Mag. Surely not. But the news we have since last episode is that Jack Crawford has officially joined us as our reserve driver. Kalen Frederick has gone for now. He will come back in all likelihood once K-Mag's contract is up. Crawford will move into the race seat and we'll get Frederick back in as a reserve driver. We can see here a lot to work with Crawford. We'll be giving him as many free practice sessions as we can to try and make sure that when K-Mag's contract is up and he moves into that race seat that he is 100% ready to go. So yeah, that's the plan for him anyway. It doesn't really give you too much history about his career to date. F3, a couple of years in F3, then he was in his first year of F2 this year, and we've plucked him out as our reserve driver. I don't understand why he can't still race in F2 or something, but anyway, that's fine. He's with us now, and that is that. Now, K-Mag's contract is up at the end of next season, so we have based almost 2 years with Crawford as the reserve driver to get him ready for K-Mag when he does eventually depart. And while we're here, Logan Sargeant has a development point, which we will put into car control, I think. Please, Logan. But if we go back to where it all is here and look at this, we have rocketed up the standings, second in the constructors, K-Mag up to third in the drivers' standings, and well, it's absolutely brilliant, and let's hope that it can continue. Now, we don't have anything new to add to the car yet. If we have a look here, we can see our side pods design is done in 1 day, so over this race weekend, but we're not going to be able to manufacture, or could we emergency manufacture something maybe? I don't think you can. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. We'll just leave it as it is. Rear wing, hopefully we'll have that for an upcoming race. Now, in staff, I don't think there was any points to add here, was there? No, there's not. So yeah, not too much. It's only a week between the two races, so not too much has happened. Let's have a quick look though at Monaco, and we are expecting a dry weekend. Circuit map there for qualifying. So red is sector 1, green, blue, sorry, sector 2, and yellow sector 3. It's a slow track, Monaco, isn't it? And we are very good in slow corners, so you do never know. You can see it's crucial for the circuit is low speed cornering, and that is, I think, we are the fastest in low speed corners. So. Oh, we couldn't get a hat-trick, could we? Surely not. It's a one-stop race, Monaco always is, and the compound we can see there. And last year's race, K-Mag 9th, Sargeant 12th, although be it a lap down. So, well, let's go and see what we can do. Before we do that, I always forget we're going to do our performance targets. There should be nothing we can't do in qualifying because our car right now is brilliant. Fastest lap is a bonus for us, which would be nice. A car in the top 12 should be a slam dunk unless something goes horribly wrong. Qualifying, one car in the top 14. Again, we have one of the better cars right now. That should be an absolute slam dunk. That's just getting out of Q1 basically, isn't it? All right, let's go to Monaco. So confirmation of the weather. Now, of course, K-Mag's going for a hat-trick of pole positions as well, isn't he? So I'm going to do free practice. Hopefully we'll get this setup nailed, and I'll see you for quali. Okay, so free practice is done, and well, let's have a look and see how we went. I think Ferrari has taken a step forward, as perhaps have Red Bull for this one. So FP1, Sargeant was 5th. Crawford, it's a hell of a debut, isn't it, in Formula One? First go at Monaco, but he was 12th, which I think is absolutely brilliant, to be fair. So well done to him. FP2, K-Mag jumped back in. We went 5th and 6th. You can see the Ferraris and the Red Bulls were ahead of us, and quite significantly half a second ahead of K-Mag. And FP3, we got a little bit closer, but it was still Red Bull and Ferrari a fair ways ahead of us. So that's why I say I think Red Bull and Ferrari have taken a step forward. We just don't have the facilities, unfortunately, to match their development pace. So we have new parts coming hopefully for next race, but I think for this one, I think we are probably the third best car on the grid, unfortunately. But still, progress is being made, which is good. Hopefully Q1 won't be an issue, so we'll catch you up on how it went momentarily. And indeed, Q1 was no problem. K-Mag just did the one run in 5th. Sargeant did a second run just to be safe, which it turns out I didn't need to do. He was well safe, but yeah, so probably wasted a set of soft tyres on him there. But that's okay. Let's go and see what Q2 holds for us. Okay, so we are coming around to start our second run in Q2. The first run was done on used tyres. K-Mag is in third. He probably doesn't need to run again, but we don't need that many tyres saved. And then Sargeant under a little bit of pressure, perhaps, down there in 8th. I was expecting a little bit more from him, but we'll see how we go here. Green first sector from K-Mag and only yellow, so not faster for Sargeant. Let's hope he can pick up a little bit later on in this lap. He is the last car on track. And there's not much behind him that's sort of threatening to knock him out of qualifying. So that is positive, although Alonso has just gone ahead of him, has he? Ocon and Alonso. The Alpines could spoil his party here. He's gone green in the second sector. K-Mag has also gone green. K-Mag's about to finish his lap. He goes 5th. Sargeant at risk. He's through, though. He goes and stays, in fact, 10th. So Sargeant not at the pace we would expect him to be at, unfortunately, but K-Mag up there in 5th is roughly where we want him to be. Hopefully Sargeant can pull out a big Q3 for us. Okay, so this has been a very stressful Q3 session. Both K-Mag and Sargeant have already done 2 runs, both on used tyres. Our first attempt, we got horribly blocked by a number of cars, and so I didn't want to go into this final run with basically 9th and 10th. In case there's a crash in front of us or anything that happens. So yeah, it was a very tight turnaround to then get us out on our new tyres for the final run. We have done it in the end quite comfortably. Green first sector for both drivers. Now Magnussen is the final car on track. Sargeant is ahead of him for this run. And well, Magnussen 4th is not too bad. Sargeant 8th. I mean, he was 10th coming into this session, so anything beyond that I guess is a bonus, but we really should be 5th and 6th, I think. So let's see what we can do here. We'll have a second sector coming off here at the other side of Tabac, I believe. I think that's called Tabac, isn't it? Anyway, green for second sector for Sargeant. We've got a green second sector for K-Mag as well. And let's see if we can move ourselves up here. Sainz has not gone faster in the middle sector for Ferrari. So can K-Mag ping him to a spot? We've got Sargeant currently in 9th. Can he move himself up ahead of a few cars here? Sargeant stays 9th. K-Mag across the line, currently 5th and stays 5th. So not how I thought this was going to go. I've got to say we're a long way off Verstappen, well, both the Red Bull's pace. We're not a mile away from the Ferraris, and we're not that far ahead of Norris and Bottas, to be fair, and also Hamilton. So yeah, everybody, I think, has definitely taken a step forward on us. It's going to make for an interesting race because we can't overtake around Monaco. So that is going to mean strategy is going to become important. Now, there's a part of me that thinks hard, soft gets you there. Medium, hard gets you there a little bit more comfortably. Are we thinking there's going to be a safety car? Because if there's going to be a safety car, I mean, you're guessing when it comes, aren't you? If we're on the hard tyre, what we could do, I'm thinking this is for Sargeant, if we start on the hard tyre, if a safety car comes at any point, really, we can more or less jump onto a medium tyre, and that can take us the best part of half the race. Not quite, but more or less half the race. So I think with Sargeant, given where he's starting, we look to go hard, soft. So I think I like that. Now with K-Mag, he's a little bit further up. I'm wondering, medium hard, and sort of we can safety car hang a little bit longer with him, or do we go soft? There's not much room for an undercut. This is what I'm thinking. You don't really have, it's very marginal. So maybe if we go medium hard, we're relatively comfortable on tyres. If we get a safety car, we can maybe look to come in a little bit sooner. Yeah, and then we can maybe conserve the hard. I think I like that. What I don't want to do, of course, is drop backwards with Magnussen. But I think we're gonna need a little bit of luck to get beyond the Red Bulls and Ferraris here. So that's what we'll do. It's maybe a little bit conservative. Maybe we should be a little bit more aggressive. But you can't overtake around Monaco. You kind of need to make something work with strategy, don't you? Okay, welcome back. All Red Bull, all Ferrari second row, all Red Bull front row, and then we have K-Mag that is up there. Let's have a look. There's a lot of soft tyres around. A couple have started on the hard. Most are on the mediums, it looks like. There is K-Mag in front of us.
Great job.
So Sargeant has made up a position off the line, it looks like, has he? He's 7th. He's made up 2 positions off the line. So that is very, very impressive by Logan Sargeant on the hard tyre as well. So maybe, I mean, we know that our race pace tends to be better than our qualifying pace. That's sort of always been the way. As I don't know if double speed's a little bit much around Monaco, but we'll see how we go. So a lot of things come flying at you, isn't there? But we'll use up ERS as much as we can. I'm thinking, actually, as we've got K-Mag behind Science, putting him under pressure, we might actually just go back to neutral and save it. Because it's not, it doesn't matter, does it? That's the thing with Monaco. You can't overtake. So it just really doesn't matter that much. But we'll settle into a rhythm here. It looks as though Science is perhaps going to hold us up a little bit. Sargeant is dropping off the back of Bottas, who's behind us. So, yeah, well, we'll just hope something happens in this race, I suppose. So we'll actually, you know what? I might actually just go ×8 speed, and we might just, for the most part, stay on, you know, show the race, but because it's going to be one of these where it's going to be a strategy race from here. K-Mag has actually dropped off the back of Science a little bit, and Sargeant is dropping back as well. It's at the bit of a front of a Logan train. But yeah, I mean, tyre life. Monaco doesn't tend to eat tyres either, does it? Bottas's soft tyres are going a little bit. What we can hope for with both cars is, as Sargeant almost gets overtaken there by Norris, it looks like, is perhaps hope that everybody, well, with Sargeant, we know everybody else is going to come in sooner, as Norris does actually, no, doesn't quite get him. It's going back and forth. A nice little battle there. Let's go and have a look at this, shall we? So Sargeant on Norris. You don't get many overtakes at Monaco, so let's have a look and see how he did it. Oh, it's into the casino there. Round the inside, and then just able to keep enough speed on the outside, and well, that's a nice move from Sargeant. I suppose it's probably defending his position as much as anything else, but yeah, not easily done. As let's see, what have we got here from Norris? He's looking down the outside of us again, and he might actually have us this time because we're on the wrong side of the track. Can we stick the nose in? Oh, we can. It's Logan. No. Just had to get out of it. So that's unfortunate. Sargeant down to 8th. But there we go. That is what it is, I suppose. And Norris may well drive off into the distance a little bit here. If he can stay with him, that might help us. But we'll see. I mean, DRS is not super important. This is it here, the DRS straight. But the straight's not long enough to really make a difference. I suspect we're going to see Sargeant drop off. I'm surprised we don't have the pace here because, yeah, even if Red Bull and Ferrari had overtaken us, we should still be ahead of everybody else. But we can see it looks as though Magnussen is actually holding up Bottas as well. So at this stage of the race, albeit some cars are on soft tyres, we don't seem to have the pace that we need. So we've got a crash. Is it a safety car crash? Yellow flag. Everybody seems to be okay. Now who has crashed? It's Norris that has crashed. So that's going to be a nice freebie for Sargeant. What has he done? He's just run wide, has he? What's he done? Oh, he's... Well, and very well done by Sargeant not to clean him up there. So back up to 7th for Logan Sargeant, but unfortunately, well, probably doesn't. It's too early for a safety car for us, really, isn't it? Oh no! Logan Sargeant has put it in the wall. He was holding up a big train of cars, and as he locked it up, hit the inside curb, and that might be him done, you know. Can he continue? It looks like he can, but we're going to have to bring him in, and minor damage to chassis and suspension. He will be safety car hanging now for the rest of this race, won't he? So we're going to have to put him onto a medium. And well, just see how far he can take it, really. But that has essentially ended Logan Sargeant's race.
Yeah, copy.
Okay, so we have some pit stops, starting with some of the soft tyre runners. Sargeant is last, a lap down. He's essentially out of the race at this point. He might be able to get himself back on board with some pit stops here, but ultimately, I think he's just done. So we've got Magnussen, who had pulled right away from Bottas. So we'll see what he can do. I'm a little bit concerned that because Sargeant is doing decent lap times now. I'm a little bit concerned that if we look at these lap times, 1:16.0s compared to 1:16.7s for Magnussen, albeit on older tyres going through traffic. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned that we're going to put K-Mag onto a hard tyre, and that might, might not work out very well for us. What we might do, though, is let's go a couple of deploy laps. Let's attack these tyres, use up any extra petrol that we have here, and just see if we can, A, stay ahead of Verstappen, and B, well, maybe close up a little bit on those in front. What sort of tyres have they all gone onto? So they've all gone onto the hard as well. So, yeah, they're all going to have a similar sort of race to the K-Mag from here.
Good job.
Let's see what sort of pace we're doing. So he's done a fastest or personal best first sector. Let's see if we can go double speed. 9 seconds off Leclerc in front. We'll see if we can pull that back in a little bit. And we are eking out these tyres quite nicely. We've switched Sargeant, if you're wondering, onto a two-stop strategy. I don't think it's going to matter. The only thing he might be able to do with that is just manage to get a fastest lap at the end and take a point away from Red Bull. But it's not really going to matter, unfortunately, because I think Red Bull are going to quite comfortably be first. Although Leclerc has... we are winning this race by now, actually. But Leclerc is in front of Perez, which takes some points off Red Bull. We're not going to catch Red Bull in the Constructors anyway. I doubt we'll even be able to keep pace and stay in second. But we probably want Red Bull to, if they're going to win it, to go and win it. And we probably are in a battle in that sense with Ferrari. And this will have to be the lap that K-Mag comes in as Verstappen gets past him. And we just don't have the pace around this track, unfortunately. So I don't know if we've done enough here, looking for an overcut, if that's going to work out for us. But we'll find out very shortly. As where's Sargeant now? Sargeant is up to 18th. But essentially, like I say, his race is over. He's stuck behind Stroll now. And yeah, we don't have to worry about him. But we'll see what sort of pit stop we get out of the boys for Magnussen. And we're going to have to go back onto standard here, just to make sure these tyres get to the end. Oh, we're a little bit too late there. All right, can we do sub 3 seconds? We've never managed it before, so I don't know why this would be any different. But it looks as though, as long as we come out in front of Bottas, that should be fine. And we are going to come out in front of Bottas, it looks like. So K-Mag sits there in fifth. And like I say, unless we get a safety car or something strange in this race, it's looking as though that's the way it's going to be. And Sargeant, well, he's done that to himself, hasn't he? So to give you an idea of how this is looking, we are half a second or more, not quite half a second, slower than the Ferrari. We're, what's that, half a second faster than Bottas behind us. We're pulling away from the cars in front, and we're falling further back from the cars. No, we're pulling away from the cars behind, falling further back from the cars in front. Magnussen is just on an ever-increasing little island of his own. Sargeant sitting there in 16th now. He's got decent pace. He's going to have to make another stop again soon, of course. He's doing 16.7s. He's stuck a little bit in traffic now, I think, as well. So, I mean, he's the same. We're just kind of in no man's land this race, which is, after back-to-back wins, very, very disappointing, obviously. Okay, so I've had a brainwave here for K-Mag. We've got a 22-second gap behind us to Bottas. Sargeant did have the fastest lap. Looks like Gasly's nicked that off him. We're going to push these hard tyres. We are going to try and come in towards the end of the race with K-Mag, put on a set of soft tyres, and try and nick this fastest lap of the race, so we get an extra point for Magnussen in the championship. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know I don't know how successful we're going to be. I think we're going to want, I forget what the timings were, I think we're going to want at least 30 seconds. And we've got 14, 15 laps to go. But we're kind of all in here because we're burning through these tyres to try and make it happen. Okay, so K-Mag should be coming in this lap. He's got a 30-odd second gap. There he is there. He's out comfortably ahead of Bottas still. So he's got 8 laps now to go and get this fastest lap, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's try for it this lap. We've just got past Alonso down the front straight. Purple. Come on, K-Mag. Purple. He's stuck behind Gasly a little bit. DRS is empty. That should be okay. K-Mag, is he about to do the fastest lap of the Grand Prix? Yes, he is. And, well, that has worked out not too bad for us at all, has it? Hopefully, that's a bonus point. 7 laps to go. So, K-Mag is taking absolute chunks of time out of these cars in front. He's 3 seconds a lap faster. What we should have done, potentially, so I've got a little bit too much on the petrol there. What we should have done is done this sooner, and we might have actually had a chance of catching and then passing the Ferrari in front. There's 2 laps to go. He's not going to quite get there. But Kevin Magnussen absolutely flying around the streets of Monaco. And Verstappen is about to start his last lap. So it's not going to quite happen. We'll just have to go to conserve, actually. Just make sure we do actually get 50. Because we've seen Magnussen run out of petrol before on the last lap of a Grand Prix. But yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because we have 70, but we've got so much tyre life left. If we'd come in sooner, we could have anyway finished much higher up here. We could have maybe got ourselves onto the podium because Sainz is right behind Perez. So I've got to say I'm kicking myself a little bit here that I haven't jumped sooner for this. But anyway, we'll live and learn on that front. I thought 5th and 6th would be a good result for us. As it turns out, I don't think Sargeant would have got much more than maybe Norris. But 7th or 8th, I think, was the best we were going to hope for from him. But K-Mag absolutely could have done more. I tell you, another 2 laps, and this was an 80-lap race. We would have been right up behind these 2, and with tyres to burn. I'm going to have to remember that for next year. The soft tyre could have lasted a lot longer, and a 2-stop may have worked. But here we go. Sargeant's a lap down, finishes 16th. Magnussen, fastest lap, and 5th. So there we go. Look at that. Fastest lap by an absolute mile as well, and 11 points. Like I say, I'm a little bit annoyed at myself. We could have, if I'd come in that little bit sooner, we could have definitely, well, given them a real shake anyway. And I was just too conservative with the gap I thought we needed to Bottas. Obviously, the last thing we wanted was to come out behind Bottas, even on a soft tyre. There's no guarantee, although we're 3 seconds faster than his fastest lap, so maybe we would have got past him. But I didn't want that. And in the end, I've been too conservative, and we've maybe cost ourselves a podium there. But anyway, Drivers' Championship. We've got Magnussen dropping down 1 place to 4th as Leclerc goes ahead of him. Sargeant down 2 to 9th. And in the Constructors, we're down 1 behind Ferrari. Still ahead of Mercedes. Only 3 points behind Ferrari, though. So that's probably our battle between now and the end of the season. And, of course, we know that we've got new side pods coming for the next race, which I think is Baku. I'm not 100% sure. We can see there we've got a development point to throw onto K-Mag for next race as well. And yeah, like I say, I will see you for that one. Slightly disappointing, but given the circumstances, K-Mag did, I think, the best he was going to do, and it's just a shame. We haven't seen drivers sticking in the wall for a long time, and unfortunately for Sargeant, he chose the wrong part of the wrong track to do it. And that lap around with a punctured tyre just absolutely killed his race. So anyway, I'll see you next time. Take care.